And you've only just met each other
This is
this week?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us the story. We're nosy.
To be fair, it's a bit. it's a bit.
You can join in as well.
A bit unconventional, but it's been amazing so far.
Yeah.
So, in the way of the world these days, people meet online and all that kind of stuff. We met through Tinder.
Tinder. Hi again and welcome back. Before we get on to the information about Tinder, whether it works or not, I wanted to show you this. Pook and I were just crossing the railway lines going into town one evening, and this goods train was coming along. I don't know what it is, but I've got this fascination with the war in Vietnam. I don't know if it's because I can remember as a child my father ranting about it when it came on the evening news, saying how unfair and how unjust it was what was going on in Vietnam, or if it's purely because of the music of that time. I link it with a lot of amazing music that was out and about at that time. Maybe it's that. But whatever it is, these vehicles fascinate me. I think they're beautiful. I'd love to have one of these Willys Jeeps. I really would. And the thing is, these have got Thai markings on them. And I'm thinking that when the American soldiers went back to America after the conflict, these vehicles were left behind and the Thai army would just pick up on them and use them. Probably, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to do a little bit of research and find out some more about them. But I thought I'd do some photos and a couple of video clips just to show you these vehicles passing through Udon Thani railway station. Pook got to ask the train driver where these vehicles were going to, and he told her they were going down to Korat. Now, if ever you're on your way down the main road, like heading away from Udon Thani down towards Bangkok, you get to Korat, and then you get the big hill going down that leads to where the cement works are on the right hand side. Just before you get there, have a look. On the right hand side, you'll see this massive yard that's got tons of these vehicles in, as well as helicopters from that conflict as well. Fascinating place. I stopped off there once, but I need to do it again and do a proper video of the place. But that's where these were heading for. Moving on now to the question about Tinder. Pook and I have come over here to the coffee station here in Udon Thani and meeting up with one of the YouTube subscribers, David.
That's
nice
right.
to meet you, and his partner Pimi, another Isan girl. So David's from Tyneside, back in the UK. Is this your first trip to Thailand?
This is my first trip anywhere outside of Europe.
I thought you were going to say the UK then. I was going to say, get back now.
No.
Really?
Yeah, I've never gone long haul or anything like that before. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And your first impressions?
Him?
No, I don't mean of each other.
Yeah,
We'll save
she's
that.
alright.
Wait till we get into the video a bit more, and then we'll start talking about first impressions.
I think my first impression really was getting off the plane and out of the airport of how open it is. It's not as claustrophobic as other cities you might find, especially Udon Thani. I landed in Bangkok and didn't really get to experience that.
You stayed in the airport there?
I just got off the plane, got on the next plane straight away.
Okay,
we are going to stay in Bangkok on Monday, so
it's worth a trip. It really is. It's an experience in itself. It really is.
Yeah, but I was just really amazed at that, and I thought, when you're in England, you think, the temperature, if it gets above 20 degrees, you're like,
that's right, yeah.
But here, it's a subtler temperature. Although it's hotter, it's
It is. It's really strange, isn't it? And you see news reports and things like that they're putting out warnings to the elderly in England because the temperature's getting up to 21 degrees and it can be dangerous, and be sure to hydrate. And oh, you know what I mean? But it is very different. It really is.
I just thought, God, if my parents came who were in the 80s, and they'd be like,
temperature gets up to 40 degrees sometimes. And it's bearable, even so. It really is. Of course, for those who do suffer a little bit in that heat, just go down to Central Plaza for the day. You've got free air conditioning all day.
We're staying in the 8 hotel, and
8 hotel.
The air conditioning in the room's perfect, so it's really good.
Can I ask you something? When you land in Bangkok, did you feel like,
You know what
because when we go back to the UK, when we land, when we get out of plane, we feel like,
down.
We feel down because the temperature.
I can imagine that being the case, that when you get off the flight in the UK and it's But to be honest with you, when I got off the plane in Bangkok, I was just so relieved not to be sat down anymore.
It's a long flight, isn't it?
No, it was like...
And it was through that need to be able to stretch your legs that we actually met, wasn't it? She got up to stretch her legs on the plane. She was flying back to England, and that was when we met, just as well. That long flight. See, if it was a short haul flight we was on, we probably never would have met. Never.
But when I was on the plane as well, before we boarded, they came around and shouted, "Just so you know, everybody, there's no food on the plane. There's no food for anybody on the plane."
No?
And I'm thinking, oh God, good job, I've got this massive tube of Pringles. But then they came round because I'd pre-ordered some food and were like, "Oh, David?" I was like,
"Oh, okay." Everyone looking at you. How did he do? Who is this David? Trying to work out who the celebrity was. That's surprising though. Usually, who did you fly with?
Scoot.
Oh, okay. Never heard of them. Scoot. From England.
Yeah.
To Bangkok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Direct flight.
Oh, wow.
The sound, probably, no offence, but a bit budget. Airways, Thai equivalent to EasyJet or
sure.
Ryanair or something.
Oh, okay. Oh,
should you say other things like
it's fine. So
other airlines are available on YouTube?
No. we usually fly Thai Airways coming in, don't we, and going out. But and with them you get 2 meals.
Yeah.
They're good. They look after you, don't they? Yeah. Although it's been a long time since we've flown with them. Now, what Pook was saying there about the feeling landing in Bangkok, I don't know. It's just landing in that warmer climate. You don't have to worry about the chill and things like. Even if you leave England in the summer and you land here, and as soon as the plane door opens, you can feel it, and the smell is different in the air. And the other thing is, of course, it used to be our trips to Udon Thani Airport. They were trips when we were going back to England. Yeah. And they were depressing, they really were.
Next week's going to be depressing when I go home.
Yeah. We're still getting used to it now. I go to Udon Thani Airport regular because we've been down in Bangkok a lot on business. And it's still, as I walk there, it's like, oh no, but then I suddenly snap out of it and think, no, I'm not going home. I'm not going back to the UK.
I mean, for anybody that's going to come and experience that moment when you get off the plane, go and do what I did.
What was that?
I was wearing jeans, a t-shirt and a shirt, so I was like, and when I met Cooper, she was like, "You want to take your shirt off?" I was like, "Calm down."
Well, here's a tip for you. We usually take a change of clothes on the plane in our hand luggage. So we've got the shorts and the t-shirt, and then just because the plane can be very cold with the air conditioning, so the UK clothes are okay for the flight. And then just before we get here, we'll slip in the toilet, quick change, and then we're ready for Thailand.
Yeah, it was cold on the plane on the way over.
So how long are you here for?
I'm only here for 9 days in total. Just because the way it worked around my work commitments at home, I have to come over and then get back in time.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about your work commitments back home, because it's not just the run-of-the-mill 9 to 5 job. You've been in business for yourself. You've run pubs, you said?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your background.
Fresh out of agricultural college.
Really?
To study to be a farmer.
He'll be all right on the farm.
Because all my family are all farmers.
Farm too,
Okay. Yeah.
There wasn't really much of a farm going on at the minute because I lost my father the year before.
Yeah.
So my mum told me, like, you need to get a job, you can't just live at home for free.
Yeah.
So I walked into Weatherspoons 24 years ago and got a job and worked in hospitality ever since. I've managed pubs for Weatherspoons and all like the bigger companies. Then went to independent companies in Teesside and Tyneside where I live, and then eventually got to have my own businesses. I had 2 pubs, and when the pandemic hit, it was like, oh, right, okay, well, this isn't, without going into too much detail, it was not a very good point to be in hospitality, and I still believe that bricks and mortar hospitality is not the way forward at the moment.
No.
So I followed a dream, which was to have a street food truck. I'd watched a film called Chef, which is by Jon Favreau, and it's about a Michelin star chef who has a pretty much a mental breakdown on Twitter, and gets fired from his job and goes to Miami and starts this street food truck, specialising in Cuban influenced Miami street food. And I thought I could do that. So when the first lockdown hit in England, I spent a month or so. I cooked everything on the menu that my chefs would cook because I wasn't working in the kitchen, but I wanted to see if I could do it. I used Instagram to do live cook-alongs with Michelin star chefs like Michael O'Hare and James, what's he called, from Yorkshire, I can't remember his name now. And I'd always loved cooking, but never loved cooking for other people, like en masse. I thought, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I bought the trailer, specialise in Cuban street food. Also do a little bit of wood-fired pizza. And it's called Jefe Mojo.
Jefe Mojo?
Jefe Mojo, yes.
Up in Tyneside. Look out.
Look out.
Mojo show.
Mojo.
Mojo Mojo.
Mojo Mojo.
So, Jefe is spelt with a H. But because I was in such because I was in such a rush, it should have been spelt with a J.
Oh, okay. What does it mean?
Like boss or chef. And then Mojo is the predominant sauce or marinade that I use in a lot of the dishes.
Sounds great. And business is good,
Fully booked for the year and taking bookings for next year.
And that's like weddings, all different social events, corporate events, that kind of thing. Brilliant.
Weddings, bar mitzvahs, parties, festivals.
So
markets.
What happens when you're over here? Does business close, or do you have someone working it for you?
There's only me and my friend who helps me, and we both had agreed we were both going to have some time off anyway. So it just felt that this was the right time to come. Nice. And then my next time off is September, which I'm hopefully going to come back.
Question on my mind, and many people watching this probably. You were living in Tyneside in England, never been over here before. You were living here in Isan.
Yes.
How did you meet? How did you get together originally? And you've only just met each other.
This is
this week. Excellent. Okay. So tell us the story. We're nosy.
To be fair, it's a bit. It's a bit.
You can join in as well.
A bit unconventional, but it's been amazing so far. So, in the way of the world these days, people meet online and all that kind of stuff. We met through Tinder.
Tinder.
Sorry,
can I just cut in there? Good friends of ours, they met on Tinder. He put his profile on Tinder. She was looking through Tinder. He was in Africa working for an oil company. She was living here in Thailand with a young son, her partner. She split up with her partner years before. And one day, just by chance, she said to her son, have a flick through there and point to a man you think looks nice.
from mom.
And her son said, he looks nice. That's the man who she's living with now. They've built a beautiful house. They've got a wonderful relationship. So Tinder does work.
I wouldn't trust my son to do that.
No.
I mean, in England, I don't know really about the rest of the world, but in England there is a stigma attached to Tinder.
There is, I always thought it was just for quick hookups.
It's for quick hookups. But if you go in it with the mindset that you are looking to meet somebody for a long-term relationship, then and that person's reciprocating the same approach, then it's fine.
It's not like an application.
Yeah.
And you have to pay for it.
Yeah. You initially you don't have to pay for it. I paid for it because of
Opens
I'll
up more
explain.
options to be able to talk to people and things.
So we'd actually matched with each other on Tinder by swiping right last year, but never spoke. It was like matched, but we're both in different places at that time.
Yeah.
And that was me being in the UK and Pimmy having her search radius towards the UK.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we've been talking now for 4 months, and before that I was sat in my mum's kitchen one day and I was on Tinder, and she was like, you know what, David, I think you should really just start looking for a foreigner girlfriend.
Really? Bless her.
Because English girls, it's no good for you. Nothing but a pain in there. And so I was like, all right then. So I thought, what should I do? And I thought, I'll just have a look in Thailand.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to look like South Thailand or the beaches, and I'm really intimidated by bar girls and that kind of approach. I don't want that.
No.
So I chose North Thailand, Thailand, and after doing a little bit of research. At that point, I hadn't necessarily discovered the Isan Paran, but I have now.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I was on there and I saw Pimmy looking absolutely gorgeous. I was like, yep, swipe right. That's great. And then it must have only been like an hour or so later, and got the match back and we started talking.
Oh, okay.
And so we were talking for a little bit on Tinder for a few days, and then exchanged and went on to WhatsApp.
Yes.
And added each other on Facebook, and Pimmy's like looking through my pictures, doing the old Facebook stalk that you do.
Yeah.
And she sees this picture of me, and she's like, sends this picture. Is that you? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And she was like, we matched last year. And I was like, did we? And I was like, I don't remember, but
So
okay.
you lost the lost year. That could be your opening video.
But
if
we
you
never
do.
talked before.
Yeah.
The lost year.
So, and then we just started talking so much, and we'd speak every day.
Yeah.
FaceTime was the best way we communicated and stuff, and we got to know each other and talk about what we were looking for and our similar interests. Like one of the things that totally blew me away with Pim straight away was a taste in music.
Oh, okay.
She's got very good taste in music.
Really?
And she's also very. She works in a restaurant, so we've got a similar sort of.
So you like Western music?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you know, just cutting in there, with Pookie, she was in England for 17 years in all.
Yeah.
And obviously through that she's picked up on Western music, likes a lot. But then when we got together, I sort of introduced her to some of the things that would have been way before her time, like the Rolling Stones and things like that, and through links, my friends through the Rolling Stones as well. And it always makes me laugh. Even now, we'll talk about the Rolling Stones, and without thinking, she'll say, "Oh, Mac Jagger." Mick Jagger. So there's little. But the other thing is with the music thing. I remember one day, soon after we got together, I was doing something, and I don't know, spoke about when I was a child. My mother used to serve up rabbit stew.
Oh, yeah.
And she burst into an old English wartime song, "Run, rabbit, run, rabbit." Hang on, where did you learn that? And it was the old ladies in the care home where she worked.
Yeah,
They were teaching her. And it was the same old ladies who taught her how to swear as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to the musical taste, you had a lot in common, yeah?
Yeah, movies and everything. When we were first talking, we were planning about me coming over and things, and I said, I'll come over in July, and then I'll come over in September, and then November, so we'll do like a ton. And I'm not a massive fan, but Timmy likes Justin Bieber,
Yeah?
and we were like, he's in Bangkok in November.
Oh, okay.
And I stayed up till like stupid o'clock in the morning in England trying to get these tickets.
Did you get them?
No.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't get them.
No. He's relieved. You would have gone though.
I would have definitely gone.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah.
And what a shame.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anyone who knows any sources to be able to get Justin Bieber tickets over here in Bangkok, let us know. Put it in the comments and too bad, mate. So moving on from that, then you plan to come over.
Yeah.
Where did you meet? Did you meet at the airport? Did you meet in town?
Yeah, it was amazing.
First time.
A cousin videoed our first meet.
Oh, okay. You took family along.
Two cousins.
Chaperone, just in case he was a raving lunatic.
Well, she hasn't found that bit out yet.
You're hiding it well.
Has video.
Pim had a huge, beautiful bunch of flowers as well.
Oh, beautiful.
To give us
Excuse me.
Chi what? No.
We met, our first date was in Gatwick Airport.
Yeah.
After the plane chat, we then, after weeks of me pestering, I'd meet for a coffee, let's go out for dinner. She only lived 20 minutes from me where I lived in England. And then after that, she said, okay, we'll meet. She said, but you can come and visit my sister with me. You stay in a hotel, I'll stay with my sister. Great, okay. Where'd your sister live? Germany. So we met at Gatwick Airport, flew to Germany, visited her sister, and that was the chaperone thing as well. She had someone with her, just in case I was a raving lunatic.
Yeah.
And she's still to find out. But no, it's a similar kind of thing where they like to bring someone else along.
Yeah, I mean, Pimmy's cousins were lovely that came and picked us up, but yeah, the whole experience of getting the flight and flying over and all that the nerves didn't really settle in.
No.
At that point, because I was worried about losing my bag. I was like, it's going to be a long flight.
Yeah.
I'm so busy. And then the moment I got my bag off the carousel in Udon Thani Airport and I saw the exit, I was like,
oh no!
Right. Okay, stand tall, brave face. Yeah. And then she was there hiding behind the cousin. There she is, and beautiful, massive smile.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. That's great.
She looks stunning and stuff.
So moving on to the future. Okay, you're here for 2 weeks.
Nearly
2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're going to do a bit of travelling around.
We're going to Shankan and Bangkok. And
Okay. Right. It's early days, okay, so we're not going to start asking about plans for the future or anything like that. It's just a few days so far. I'll tell you what we'll do though, we'll pencil in another meeting, we'll pencil in another video with you guys in future. Whatever happens, even if you think, he gets right on my nerves. No, whatever happens, we'll arrange another meeting next time you're over. If you'll be in Udon Thani at some point, and we'll sit down and we'll see how it's going. We'll get an update on the relationship.
You need to talk about healthy.
Oh, of course. One other thing. A friend of mine, Mark, in England, he'd like to come over to Thailand. He's diabetic and he's a bit worried about the insulin and things like that. Yeah. David's diabetic. He's got, show this thing, he's got this monitor thing on his arm.
Should I do the muscles?
And that, he checks out his blood sugar levels on the phone. So there's that. So he's injecting insulin, and what do you think about that? You were saying the temperature might have affected the levels a little bit.
Like with hot temperature, even in England, your blood sugar levels will rise potentially. So it's harder to control and manage it with the amount of insulin you would take.
Sure.
It's not impossible though.
No.
And so
so it's a bit more of a fine balancing act to get it just right over here, yeah?
I mean, it's a fine balancing act every day for every diabetic.
How long have you been using insulin?
So I've been diabetic for 20 years.
Quite a while, so you're in the flow of it now, you've got used to it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably had diabetes long before I was diagnosed.
Yeah, just didn't realise.
But just was too busy living a lifestyle of going out every weekend and drinking lots and partying and.
So over here, you seem to think that it's possible to maybe buy the insulin over the counter.
From the small amount of research that I've done, you can get prescribed drugs over the counter or medication over the counter.
So that might be an option.
Yeah, I mean, I might even test that theory out later on.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've had a look and I want to check that I've got enough needles for it.
There's that good chemist just down here where your sister used to call into. Just down the road here, that chemist, opposite UD Town.
Yeah.
When we finish here, just show them where that is and maybe go in there. They've got pretty much everything in there. So, but there's another thing. Okay, we'll catch up on that later on. Later on the next video.
Yeah.
There's going to be a part 2 to this. Whatever the outcome. And I hope so. You'll come back to Thailand anyway. That'll be great. So we'll do a part 2 and maybe get a bit more information about the insulin and how available that is and cover that kind of thing. So watch this space. David and Pimmy will be back together and telling us the full story and maybe give us a bit of an insight into the future for you two.
This is
Excellent. Thanks very much. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.